I'm gonna catch a sugar overload, aren't I? Spring 2026 has some great stuff for you. That is, if you're primarily a fan of romance shows. We've got a great assortment outside of that, but I mean, what's all this when you can get away with this? Yeah, gotta say, not that big on the action this season, which you can maybe see as a sour spot, but the ones that are in this season, I think, are really good. Good enough to the point where it makes up for the disparity. Enough beating around the bush like how most of those rom-coms work. And let's get into the stuff I personally watched this season. Returning from 2022, we have The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten, and I feel like I'm the one being spoiled with how fucking cute Amane and Mahiru are. Amane's parents and friends are being supportive as fuck when it comes to their relationship, helping them out with getting more of the other's attention, or ending up with some far more lewd suggestions. You get the cringiest romance scenes that, in my opinion, encapsulate an ideal couple where two people are really into each other along with their immense respect for one another, and aren't afraid to show it. Although, Amane still gets embarrassed about that from time to time. Honestly, if you liked it before, this one is still great. Welcome to the otaku dream. Liking something as a high school student that you'd think would ruin your reputation like some kid's show, that instead actually gets the two most popular girls in the class interested in you. Now, where have I seen that before? But Seiyou Takuya sure got it to work. A pretty simple but addictive high school rom-com with a gyaru, an open geek, and a closet geek. But this one can draw a face card! There's some clash going on with a bit of relatability in their personalities, but they're still able to get along great despite that. Now, of course, a couple of people in that trio might want to make it more of a pair, and that never ends badly, right? Following up on that, we have I made friends with the second prettiest girl in my class, centered around a lonely guy that's a gamer, and the second most popular girl in the class, who also happens to be a gamer. Hold up though, there's a difference. This guy's got family problems that made him that way, and this girl's got an inferiority complex from being compared to her bestie growing up that's been considered the first prettiest. Well, those things aside, it is another high school rom-com, but that's just a bit of spice that needs to stay interesting. And holy fuck, these two are adorable. A professional hitman with an ex-wife and kid aged down to a middle schooler. Yep, surely nothing can go wrong here. Ogami Juzo had accidentally gotten himself stung by a wasp that somehow turned him into a 13-year-old kid again. Seeing as that's the case, his boss thought it to be a perfect opportunity to get him to scout at a school that he wanted his daughter to attend, along with finding some possible hints as to what Ogami got stung by. But until that gets sorted out, he's just going to school like a normal kid. Due to his upbringing as a hitman from a really young age, Ogami never got to experience what it was like to be a normal kid. So, as any normal kid would do, he got addicted to studying. Yeah, the hired assassin likes studying. He gets into some really cool shit as a middle schooler because of his background. Due to having to protect Noren, who's coincidentally the daughter of the president of the company that made one of those wasps that stung Ogami in the first place. Wow, who would have guessed it'd come full circle? Not me. Overall, this is a fun comedy series with some killer action along the way.
美食のカナ。さあ、私に食べられなさい。
What do you get when a demon lord's daughter decides to show up at your school and plans to eat every human soul around her to serve as sustenance? Typically, you'd think that would end up with some catastrophic event or an all-out war. But here, the only thing you get is a tsundere demon princess that's never been in a relationship, ending up in one. Tell me how we ended up here. Just as she was about to feast on her first victim, he starts visibly mentally gooning to her, and she hits herself in confusion just trying to process what she's seeing. And her first reaction? Complete pushover when faced with Kyogi. Fun little junk food series if you like open book gooning. We got another high school rom-com, and more importantly, another hit from the author of You and I Are Polar Opposites. Seeing as how that ended up as one of my favorite series from last season, which is also getting a second season right now, I had expectations for this one to land. That series and Ramparts of Ice are, say it with me now, polar opposites to each other. The vibes between these two series are so completely different, but Ramparts of Ice still manages to deliver on just how engrossing and relatable the characters are. Four main characters are stuck in a love square that each have their own social and distancing problems that they want to work out to keep their friend dynamic alive, while also wanting to listen to their own emotions. You know, I don't think I've ever seen someone so devoted to being a class monitor as this guy, but yeah, no, he takes the cake. The klutzy class monitor and the girl with the short skirt. Holy fuck, way to spell it out. Look, I get it. The title landscape is looking bleak nowadays with how many words have been taken up. But seriously, something this on the nose? Anyway, another cute romance with a gyaru and a stupidly diligent class monitor, if the title didn't give you that impression for whatever reason. Of course, it's the dorky kind. But hey, this type of shit always seems to get me, and that trend ain't stopping now! Coming from the author of Violet Evergarden is The Agents of Seasons, Dance of Spring. Just real quick, I will be one of the few to say that Violet Evergarden wasn't my thing after watching the first season. This, however, is. Imagine if seasons could literally be personified. People that are given the power to turn the seasons, that have other abilities relating to their assigned time of year. Winter with ice, spring with the ability to expedite plant growth, and so on. What if there were factions vying for those abilities? Because as the most prevailing rule of the military forces goes, if I can't have it, neither can you. As these agents of seasons are just trying to fulfill their duties that they were roped into either at birth or just some god's will, insurgent groups are hunting them down to harness the agents' powers to their own ends. The main character, Kaio Hinagiku, the Agent of Spring, already experienced being in captivity of one of those groups. One that drastically traumatized her, to the point of abandoning her once bright personality and shifting into what was basically a whole new person entirely. What happens next is how she learns to move past that and how she carries the past of Kaio Hinagiku with her. The Agents of Seasons thing is such a unique concept, at least to me, and it was told in a really beautiful way. Stories of forgiveness between Hinagiku and her guard, Sakura, the rift that formed between them in the House of Winter, who used to be closer before everything went horribly wrong for them. This one was definitely more of an experience than just a show. And the Best Girl of the Season award goes to Kinosaki Mei! We've got this heir to a famous assassin clan, Gero Hikaru, that needs to pump out an heir himself since he wants his sister to be happy with her current partner. To that end, he happens to find a marriage swindler that's willing to help him in exchange for saving her. You know, because of course the hoe can get you dates. Pretty fun watch in general, with some good old comedy and bits of action. But I mean, we've probably all seen where this type of thing goes. Instead of all the potential partners they meet, the guy probably just falls for their partner in crime anyway. Right? What? What do you mean she's a guy? Well, you know. Oh, fuck it. He's best girl material anyways, so who gives a shit? Last is probably the biggest show to come out of this season, Witch Hat Atelier. According to some, as standing among the greats of fantasy in the manga and light novel space, Witch Hat Atelier presents another world of magic. A concept that's usually out of reach for the commoners of the universe, let alone being able to use it because in most cases, only those that are blessed actually can. In this world though, it's just a secret club where no one wants the non-mages to know that all you have to do to use it is draw a few shapes with some special ink. Coco, not knowing that, casts a forbidden spell that she got from some shady merchant she met a while back and freezes her house and mom, with Kifuri, Kmart Gojo Satoru, taking her under his wing to help her resolve that and find out who gave her the forbidden spells in the first place. And that's how the story kicks off. Gonna be real here, I didn't feel this one too much. Conceptually speaking, nothing wrong with it. Not at all, but also nothing that particularly stood out to me either. Almost none of the characters had that much personality going for them, and while that might only be because of first season syndrome, they're too bland and just put me to sleep. I will say though, that the production quality on this is great. Animation, soundtrack, voice acting are all stellar. I only made it 6 episodes in, so if there's anything I'm missing past that, feel free to tell me because I was too bored to keep watching any more of it. Open to revisiting it though. As you can see, lots of good shows from spring 2026. Let's be real, it was always going to be Rom-Com Central, but this was a good assortment of them. This season felt special to me, because I watched the majority of it while traveling in Japan for a month. It's not as if watching anime in Japan made it better or anything, but it's almost as if I've been holding on to an unfinished puzzle for some 12-ish years now, and I finally got the last piece of it. It was a really fun and fulfilling trip, and watching these anime made it all the better. Seeing the commercials and ads for them all over the place only further completing the feeling. You know, I'm liking the catalog I'm building up here, just to look back and maybe cringe thinking about it later. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you watched or your favorites of the season, and I'll see you all in the next video.